Horror movies? Scary, sure. Haunted houses? You get used to it. But horror in virtual reality? That's a whole new level of terror. Imagine, the creaking door isn't on a screen, it's right there. The monster isn't CGI, it feels like it could reach out and touch you. VR horror is immersive. It's intense. It's the kind of scary that stays with you long after you've ripped the headset off. But here's the thing, it's also incredibly fun. There's a unique thrill in testing your courage against virtual terrors and coming out the other side, heart-pounding but victorious. And that's what this is all about, surviving and thriving in the world of VR horror. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or a VR virgin, this guide will arm you with the tips, tricks, and strategies you need to face your fears and conquer the virtual unknown. So, are you ready to dive into a world where every creak and groan could signal impending doom? Good. Let's get started. Before you step into the virtual abyss, let's make sure you're properly equipped. No, you won't need holy water or garlic, though hey, no judgment here. Here's what you really need: a decent VR headset. No surprises here. A good quality VR headset is crucial. It's your window to the virtual world, and the clearer and smoother that window is, the better. Headphones. Sound is everything. Trust me, you want to hear every creak, groan, and blood-curdling scream in crisp detail. Headphones will immerse you in the soundscape of horror like nothing else. Comfortable space. VR horror is a physical experience. You'll be ducking, dodging, and maybe even jumping out of your skin. Make sure you have enough clear space to move around freely without knocking over your furniture or your cat. A backup pair of pants. Optional but recommended. Look, I'm not saying you will scream, but it's best to be prepared. VR horror is as much a mental game as it is a physical one. Here's how to steel your nerves and prepare your mind for the scares to come. Remember, it's not real. Repeat as necessary. This might seem obvious, but it's easy to forget when you're face to face with a virtual monstrosity. Remind yourself that it's just a game. The headset can come off at any time, and that creepy voice you hear is just some clever sound design. Start small, work your way up. Don't dive headfirst into the scariest game you can find. Start with something a little tamer and gradually work your way up to the truly terrifying stuff. Play with a friend, preferably one who scares easily. Laughter is the best medicine even, or especially, when it's fueled by terror. Plus, it's always comforting to know you're not alone in the virtual darkness. Take breaks. You're not a wimp, you're human. VR horror is intense. It's okay to take breaks, catch your breath, and remind yourself that the real world is a much less terrifying place. Moving around in VR is different from traditional gaming. Here's how to navigate the virtual world without ending up a tangled mess. Smooth and steady wins the race. Jerky movements can lead to nausea, and not the fun kind. Move your head slowly and deliberately, especially when you're first starting out. Use your body, not just your thumbs. VR is about immersion. Don't just stand there like a statue. Lean in to get a closer look. Duck behind cover. Physically turn away if things get too intense. Master teleportation, your new best friend. Many VR horror games use teleportation for movement. It might seem strange at first, but it's a great way to get around quickly without triggering motion sickness. Mind the cables. Tangled cords equals instant game over. This might seem obvious, but getting tangled in your headset cables is a surefire way to break the immersion and potentially your neck. Make sure your play area is clear and your cables are managed. Section 5. Sound advice. Using audio to your advantage. In VR horror, sound isn't just about atmosphere, it's a crucial tool for survival. Here's how to use your ears to your advantage. Listen closely to every creak and every whisper. The sound design in VR horror games is often incredibly detailed. Pay attention to every sound, no matter how subtle. It might just save your virtual life. Use headphones. Seriously, we mean it. Headphones block out distractions and immerse you in the game's soundscape. You'll be able to hear faint noises, pinpoint the direction of sounds, and fully appreciate the terrifying brilliance of the audio design. Turn off the lights, if you dare. Playing in the dark might seem counterintuitive, but it heightens your other senses, including hearing. Just be careful not to trip over anything, or anyone in the process. Don't be afraid to crank up the volume, within reason of course. You want to be immersed, but you don't want to damage your hearing. Find a volume that's both immersive and safe. Section 6. The Art of Not Panicking. How to Handle Jump Scares. Jump scares. The bread and butter of horror, and VR horror is no exception. Expect the unexpected. It's horror, after all. The key to surviving jump scares is knowing they're coming. Be prepared for anything to suddenly go bump in the night. Don't be afraid to look away or close your eyes. Sometimes, the best way to handle a jump scare is to not handle it at all. Remember to breathe. Seriously, you're turning blue. Take a deep breath, remind yourself it's just a game, and carry on. Embrace the terror. It's why we're here, right? So, the next time a jump scare gets you, try to enjoy the ride. Section 7. Rookie Errors. Common VR horror mistakes and how to dodge them. We've all been there. You're new to VR horror, you're pumped, you're terrified, and you make a rookie mistake. Here's how to avoid some common pitfalls. Ignoring your surroundings. VR is immersive, but don't forget about the real world around you. Keep your play area clear to avoid tripping hazards. Rushing through. Take your time, explore your environment, and pay attention to detail. You might just find a clue that helps you survive, or at least delays your inevitable demise. Forgetting to recharge. Make sure your headset and controllers are fully charged before you start playing. There's nothing worse than having your game interrupted by a low battery warning. Not adjusting the settings. VR headsets have a range of comfort and accessibility settings. Take the time to adjust these to your liking, especially if you're prone to motion sickness. Section 8. Level up your fearlessness. Advanced tips for VR veterans. You've conquered a few VR horror games and mastered the basics. Ready for a greater challenge? Here are some advanced tips. Embrace the darkness. Use darkness to your advantage. Hide from enemies and let your senses guide you. Master your inventory. Efficient inventory management is crucial. Practice switching items without losing focus. Learn enemy patterns. Enemies have predictable patterns. Learn their behaviors and weaknesses. Replay for mastery. Replaying can reveal new details and strategies. Section 9. Beyond Survival. Why we love the thrills and chills of VR horror. Why do we subject ourselves to this virtual torture? Why do we willingly step into digital worlds designed to scare us senseless? Because VR horror, for all its chills and jump scares, taps into something primal, something exhilarating. It's the thrill of the unknown, the adrenaline rush of fight or flight, the satisfaction of conquering our fears, even if they are just pixels. It's about testing our limits, pushing our boundaries, and proving to ourselves that we're braver than we think. And let's be honest, there's a certain catharsis in facing our fears in a safe, controlled environment. Section 10. Conclusion. Face your fears. Conquer your games. VR horror isn't for the faint of heart. It's intense, it's terrifying, and it will push you to your limits. But it's also an incredibly rewarding experience. So, gear up, mentally prepare yourself, and step into the world of VR horror. Face your fears, conquer your games, and most importantly, have fun. Just remember, when those virtual monsters start closing in, it's all in good fun. Probably.